Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is Sunday, March 6th, and we are joined by a very special guest, FSU football's head coach, Mike Norvell. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing well. First day of spring practice under our belt, and things went well, and just excited about the rest of spring that's ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a busy time for you. A lot of stuff going on campus. Talk to us about the. We'll jump right into it. Well, now we like to ask the important questions first. We were just talking with you a little bit off air about Guthrie's. I was very encouraged to hear that you're not a coleslaw guy. You're a double fry guy if you're going through, correct?
Absolutely. There's not even a second thought about it.
I will, and then we'll ask you this, and we'll kind of, like I said, get into the important stuff. But when I know you're busy, I know you've got a million things going on, but like, what is your like go-to comfort food? Like, you've had an awful day or a great day, you're celebrating, either way, like, what is your go-to, just like, I need this meal, or ice cream or chicken or whatever?
Yeah, I don't have a go-to meal. I really don't. I pretty much can ride with whatever shows up. I mean, most of the time I'm working through most of my meals anyway, so it's whatever's easy and convenient.
Yeah, you talked about the work and being busy. A lot of visitors on campus. The beginning of spring practice. Can you talk to us quickly just about the, again, as fans and things, people can sometimes overreact to just one day, but can you talk to us about your very early impressions of spring as we kind of get started here?
Yeah, for me, yes, we've had one practice, but more than any of that, you take the whole winter program and just off season up to this point, really excited about what I've seen with our guys, and to have so many returners that are coming back that have been able to get experience, and the way that they've matured and developed, and just the overall understanding within the program. It's something that has really created a great buzz around our team. And then starting in January, we had 23 newcomers that joined the program, 13 high school early enrollees, and then 10 transfers. And I think we've really done a great job of building the competition. We brought some great young men, athletes, guys that are passionate about building these relationships and trying to make an impact. And to see them go through the tour duty workouts, Coach Storms and his staff did a remarkable job in the weight room, and just continuing to change our guys' body and the overall composition of their bodies with the muscle tone and strength. The numbers that we're seeing are remarkable, and I'm excited about how it played out for the first day of spring ball, and just continuing to build that mental toughness throughout our tour duty, and the way these guys are coming together, and really you're seeing a lot more of the players coaching players and understanding that expectation of what we need to do and what we need to be every day.
And Coach, obviously, every position's open to, for competition right now, but for the first time in a while, Florida State brings back what seems to be a QB1 in Jordan Travis. Can you just talk about his maturation in your system, and, AJ Duffy coming in as an early enrollee, a big deal. Jordan Travis kind of taking him under his wing, because we've kind of seen that, via social media and whatnot throughout these past few weeks here.
Well, really excited about Jordan and the growth that he's shown. I mean, he's developed in so many ways as a player, but also just continuing to grow in his confidence as a leader, and somebody that this team can count on. And as you look back through these last 2 years, I mean, there's been some challenging moments for him, physically, just having to overcome and respond to a lot of different situations that have arose. And he's a guy that he's going to put you in a great position to achieve success. And as you see that confidence emerging on the field, just as a passer and really operator of this offense, I'm excited about where he's headed, and the steps that we've seen. I thought he looked great yesterday. You're going back and watching the film of practice, and what I saw in person was really exciting. And you talk about that quarterback position as a whole. I mean, yes, you mentioned AJ Duffy, and I thought Tate Rodemaker had a really good first day as well. I mean, came out of the gate, had a great first drive. I mean, a couple big pass plays down the field. Tate is really coming along, and just his confidence as well going into his third year in the system, and you see the steps that he's taken. And then AJ Duffy was a young man we're extremely excited about, and known AJ for a long time, and he's a son of a coach that that has really helped him develop throughout his high school career, and he hit the ground running, and I mean had a great first day. Looked very poised, confident. I mean his first ever throw in a college 7-on-7 portion of practice, and I mean he has a 30-yard strike down the field, and it was one of the more veteran throws that you could imagine, and he just has that air of confidence about himself, and there's a lot of things that he's going to have to grow and improve on just as he goes through the process. But I mean I like the way he brings himself to work every day and composes himself. He is what we thought we were getting, and we had high expectations, and we'll continue to have high expectations as he goes through this journey.
Yeah, and Coach, Bill Conley at ESPN, he has you guys returning the 11th most production of anyone in college football this year, but with a lot of transfers, especially the wide receiver room. Really excited about Micah Pittman, Johnny Wilson, and some of those guys, and just how important is this spring getting those guys in right now to mesh with Jordan and kind of get that camaraderie and get ready for the season here.
No, I mean, it's great. And, when you look at it, as you talk about the receiver room, which, when it comes to rhythm and timing and all the things we ask our receivers to do, I mean, this is it's a work in progress. And, those guys all, showed up well yesterday, Winston Wright, Deuce Spann, two other guys that were the part of those transfers that came in. And, Winston was a little bit limited yesterday, and, but they've all shown great things, and, excited about, what they bring to the table. And, it was definitely encouraging for them to have the 8 weeks leading up to have a little bit of that foundation that's built, for them to get into spring practice. So I think it's going to do wonders for us. And, with all those newcomers that are here, we probably have 90 to 95% of our football team that's going through this spring, which is going to really help accelerate, that transition and that added competition.
Richie mentioned the returning guys. I want to take it back just a little bit. Did you know that Jermaine Johnson was as fast as he ran yesterday at the combine? and how impressed are you with those guys that are getting ready for the next steps? Jermaine, Jay Sean,
I get to watch him every day at practice. So there is nothing that he's going to do physically that will ever shock me. I mean, I think he's an elite talent. Great young man. I mean, just the way that he's represented this program and the year that he was here. I mean, it's we're very proud of Jermaine, and then Jay Sean did a remarkable job as well. And we're excited for those guys. We're excited for the guys that like Kier Thomas, Devontae Love Taylor. They're going to get an opportunity here at Pro Day later this spring, and it's a really good group. And we didn't have many guys that were upperclassmen, and the work that they put in and still putting themselves in a position to have great careers here at the next level. We're fully supportive of that, and it's setting up well for this next group, and to see how guys are developed and showcased, for what their futures can be.
We know that it's a big visit weekend. A lot of kids on campus, a lot of kids that right now are kind of getting their first impression, at Florida State. We've talked with a lot of them, and a consistent theme seems to be when they tell us that Florida State is set apart, or Florida State is their leader right now, or Florida State is doing things that other schools aren't doing. And then when we dig there, they always talk about the relationships, and they always talk about how they feel like the staff, whether it be you or their position coach, all the way down to the support staff, every member in between, they can tell that they not only care about the current kids on the roster, but the recruits that are coming in. And they feel like they're part of that family. Can you just speak to that, the relationships, how important that is, and just kind of what goes into making them feel that? Because they feel it as soon as they step onto campus is kind of the feedback that we get from them.
Well, we try to be genuine, and that's the number one thing. I mean, we're And today's age, there's so much exposure, and the recruiting process is a unique one, and a lot of schools have different ways of presenting themselves, and we try to build on the relationships by taking the time to get to know these young men and to be genuine and true and who we are and what we're about. I'm searching for the best fit for Florida State, and each of these young men are looking for the best fit for themselves individually, and there's times that, as we are very transparent in what it's going to be when they get here, I want them to know that it's not just their development on the field. It's all other aspects of how they're going to be taken care of, and how they're going to be challenged, and being able to present that throughout that experience. And I think it does set us apart. And, there's a lot of great coaches that can give a recruiting speech. I mean, we're looking to truly paint the vision and showcase the opportunity that's ahead for these young men and their families, what that experience as a Florida State Seminole is going to be all about. And it's not just the 3 or 4 years that they're going to be here, but how it's going to help impact the rest of their lives. And, we take the time to invest in them, relationship and getting to know them. And that's, I think that's a key factor. So I'm glad that is the message that's being portrayed. And it's what we strive to do, on a daily basis.
Yeah, Coach, and we've kind of seen that on display this weekend. As TJ mentioned, obviously we can't talk about specific recruits, but a big recruiting weekend in Tallahassee. But pretty cool to see guys like Marvin Wilson, Asante Samuel, all back in town just to, show support for Florida State. Thinking about a guy like Marvin, I always remember him on National Signing Day back when Jimbo was the coach, saying that honey fried chicken was the big deal that made him want to sign with Florida State. So how are we still rolling out the honey fried chicken to the recruits, Coach? Because I think that's one of our key secrets right there to landing these top talent.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of different reasons why kids will choose places, and on the official visits, the honey fried chicken definitely has an appearance. So we like to play to our strengths, and that's a great thing that throughout the years has been a staple of Florida State. But more than anything else, we want it to be about the opportunity, and for these guys, when they come here, they know that they're gonna grow. They're going to have an opportunity to be showcased. And, we talk about Florida State football being a place where stars can come to shine. And, we want them to shine bright in everything that they do on the field, off the field, and, in the classroom and in the community. And that's the steps that we're seeing. And, you take a guy like Jermaine, who, he played, multiple years in other programs. And, you see that, some of the production that he had and, the opportunity to come here and even in 1 year period of time has, elevated himself to what I expect to be a first round draft pick. And he was an All-American and, just was, also finished as a Florida State graduate. And that's something that I'm so proud of, and the impact that he made. And, all these guys, we want that ultimate success, in every aspect. And that's what we're pushing for, and finding the right fits for Florida State and providing the right fit for these kids.
You talk about the right fit for Florida State. When we were up in Charlotte, we talked briefly about some of the stuff that Dylan Gibbons had done to give back. And then, he's taken that to a whole nother level with what he's been able to do. But we've seen that with more kids, whether it be Jordan or different ones participating with the Boys and Girls Club, the Christmas giveaway. Can you speak a little bit about, the guys that are, using their platform to really give back, and how much of that culture side of things, really matters here as well?
Yeah, we talk about those core values of our program, and it's service, sacrifice, and respect. And those are things that we want to be able to live out on a daily basis. So we talk about, our service and, being able to give of yourself to help better somebody else on their journey. And that's our guys that really take that to heart. We talk about as a football team, we have an objective to try to have over 1,500 hours of community service each year, where you take players, coaches, everybody involved. We can all give 10 hours of ourselves as a minimum. Then we can help make an impact. And, we have guys that have totally, bought into that. And, you look at the guy like Cam McDonald, who was, on the Good Hands All-State team, where, it is, what a special recognition for him, and the impact that he's able to make, and the exposure nationally. Dylan Gibbons and his foundation, and we've got a lot of guys that are being able to go out and make an impact, whether it's things that are seen and recognized nationally, or they're things that maybe going to a high school and reading to going to elementary school and reading to elementary age kids that maybe in challenging situations, and just trying to be a positive influence. And that's something that, as a program, we want to be known for.
Yeah. And Coach, obviously, someone my age grew up in the 90s, right? Florida State was the program, and it was all about Bobby Bowden, and TJ and I made sure to get up for the Notre Dame game this year. Just talk about Coach Bowden and what he means to this program, and to someone like you who didn't really have ties to the program, before becoming our head coach, but understanding the impact of what he did, not just on the football field, but for all these young men's lives, because that Coach Bowden is a hero of mine and always will be.
Yeah, and rightfully so. He's a man of impact, and you go through his career. The foundation of this program was built on work, and it was built on relationships, and the investment in the young men that he coached, the coaches that he worked with. It was something that was a staple of this program, and the relationships of trying to make that impact, and being there and helping impact on that journey is something that made him special. And it, not only when the program achieved success, it was able to sustain success because of those values and that focus. I tell people all the time, one of the greatest experiences in my life was, whenever probably a month into having the job here, Coach Bowden came up to the office, and he was it was something that I will always remember, because even though he wasn't moving real well, I think it just had hip surgery, but was just you could see in his heart, and just being able to sit down with him for 15, 20 minutes, talking about the impact and the opportunity, and staying true to those things of making a difference that helped draw me here to Florida State. Because I was a young boy. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and the very first piece of college memorabilia I ever owned was a 1993 national championship license plate, and it was the only thing that was hanging on my wall. But it was because of the way that this team played. It was because of the passion and just the standard of Florida State. And so, even though I wasn't ever directly tied to this program, it was one that I had the ultimate respect for, because of the leadership. And you're being able to meet Coach Bowden, and that morning, I'll never forget. We got done probably talking 15, 20 minutes, and we went down the hall, and I walked him into our coaches room, and I'll never forget the look of the face of Ron Dugans and Odell Hagens when they saw their coach walk in, and the look on their face told me everything I ever needed to know about Coach Bobby Bowden, and the man that he was, the impact that he had on so many. It was really special, and so that is a lasting impression. And I'm just honored for the time that I got to be around him, and also understand the responsibility of the job that I have to represent him and show respect to all the work that was done before I got here.
Yeah,
Coach, we'll let you go here in a second. I'll get to TJ next, but just want to talk about, despite being a pretty young coach for the most part, you have quite a legacy of your coaching tree, so to speak. Most recently, Kenny Dillingham going to Oregon, but all of these coaches, they talk about, the impact you made on their lives. So what have they made on yours? Because that's pretty cool when you see a guy like Kenny, leave Memphis to go to Auburn, come to Florida State, go to Oregon, and kind of building his own legacy. Pretty cool stuff to see, because you have quite an extensive tree right now.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I've worked a lot of great coaches, throughout the years, and I think it's, just like we talk about the mission for these young men that I get to coach. I mean, I have the same mission for the coaches that I work with. I want to help develop them and provide opportunities for them to achieve, the things in their career where they can continue to grow. And if they aspire to be head coaches, what can I do to help them on that path? If, this last year, we had Chris Marv, who was a position coach that's now, a coordinator here within the conference, and, helping him take that step. And, we've had a lot of those stories throughout my, throughout my head coaching career. And, was able to work with a lot of great assistants, as I was an assistant as well. So it's just, being able to pour into coaches, to be able to pour into players. And we're all on a journey, and we're fortunate to have these opportunities. And, a guy like Dan Lanning, who I was able to hire when, one of my first hires there at Memphis, and, for him to go and, leave Memphis to go to Georgia, and now he's head coach at Oregon. I mean, those are lifelong relationships. And, I'm grateful for all of them, and, excited to see guys continue to progress. But, just like this year, when Kenny took the opportunity to go back, to the West Coast, and, you now have, the promotion of Alex Atkins, who I think is one of the finest coaches in the country, that was able to be promoted as our offensive coordinator, and excited about what he's going to do. And then also being able to promote, Tony Tokars, a guy that's worked with me for roughly the last 6 years, and I think can be one of the bright stars of the future in the coaching profession. And with Chris Marv leaving, getting Randy Shannon, he was on staff in an off the field role, and now is our linebackers coach and co-DC, and keeping that continuity and being able to see guys that are promoted within the program. It's that growth and development that we aspire for, and excited about what the future holds.
Can you talk to us a little bit about Michael Alford, who we've chatted with several times on here when he was with the Boosters, now obviously named the next AD. We've really liked hanging out with him and chatting with him a ton, but can you talk to us a little bit about how excited you are for him to kind of take over at the helm of athletics, and where you kind of see things going?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great vision. I mean, as a tremendous leader, I was fortunate to be able to be a part of when he was hired with the Boosters, to be a part of that process. And I knew from the first time that I ever got to meet him, and to hear his passion for making an impact, and that showed up in the 18 months where he was the CEO of the Boosters. And when the opportunity presented itself to be our AD, I mean, I think it was a home run hire. And he is the ultimate worker. He wants to build relationships, make an impact, but then to do it to the Seminole standard. And I'm grateful for all those that have come before. And when AD Coburn, who helped get me to Florida State, I mean, the impact that he made during that time of transition, and then the way that he worked with Michael, I think that also allowed this to be a very seamless transition. And Michael's done a great job of coming in and being able to implement his plan, and that's going to be something that continues to help get Florida State to where we need to be as an athletic department. But fully appreciate his leadership, and now with President McCullough and the incredible board of trustees that we have, it's we've got some great people here, and the alignment is critical, and that's what I see.
Yeah, Coach, I think TJ hinted at it. I think Michael Alford's probably has the record for most appearances on this podcast. But just talk about the booster support in general, because a lot of people don't realize how much it does mean and helps these student athletes, not just with football, but across the board. But just the booster support in general. And I'm excited. I heard from a little birdie, you're going to be here probably in May. I'm in Orlando, so pretty excited about that event. But just booster support in general, and the booster tour, because I see you're making the rounds, and I'm definitely excited for you to get down here to Orlando.
No, absolutely. And it's, it's critical. I mean, the booster support that we have, I mean, we're grateful for. I mean, it's, I know we've seen a great jump in the number of boosters that we have and the impact that they're making. It's this is a special place, and, being able to invest in this program, invest in the student athlete experience, and the things that we need to maintain that competitiveness with what we are facing in college football. I mean, it is a new day and a new age, and we have to be very proactive in pushing forward. And, that support from the boosters is critical, but, we also understand the importance of how we represent, that commitment and how we represent that investment. And it's, absolutely something that needs to be done on the field and in how we play and the way that we go about things, but also making sure that we're making that impact off the field as well. And we've got an incredible fan base, and grateful for all of their support and the investment in what we're doing.
Coach, I'll ask you this, and then we'll let you go. Again, we appreciate your time a ton. Got off to kind of I'll pull any punches, but got off to kind of a rough start. But then through the second half of the year, the team seemed to find a different level, a different gear, and really turned things around to maybe not the year we would have wanted, but certainly better than we started. And then there seems to be some positive momentum, not only with recruiting, but also some excitement around the spring, what we've seen in off-season workouts and different things like that. What is what is kind of if you had a sum it up message for the FSU fan base and the direction that we're heading right now? Like, how do you kind of see things? Where do you kind of see the ship pointed? And can you kind of speak to that just a bit, and then we'll get you out of here and let you go.
I'm excited about the future and, the journey that we've been on. There's been adversity, there's been challenges, but, like I tell our team all the time, it's how you respond to that. And, thing that you look back to this last year, I think we had 9 games that came down to one score, of the first 4, we had 3 of them that ended, in a 1 possession game, and 2 of them on the last play. And it's sometimes having to go through some of those challenges. You have to go through them to prove you can get through them. And for us to overcome that and to respond the way that we did, our guys never gave up. They never lost hope or focus of what we were looking to do, and it allowed us to respond. And it wasn't a fairy tale ending. We still had our challenges. We had games where we had multiple people out for sickness or things that sometimes were outside of our control, and we have to continue to grow. We have to continue to develop in our consistency, but we've learned some great lessons along the journey. And I do feel like we're getting close. I feel like the development in our roster, the addition in guys that we've been able to bring in, we're getting the right guys, and we have the right staff and the people that are in place here to help them develop on their journey. And we're so excited about where this is going. And we're working hard every day to continue to be the best version of us. And our kids, they buy into that, and they're excited about the future as well. And we're looking forward to this process.
Awesome, Coach. Well, we can't wait to get up to Tallahassee in the middle of April and see the spring games, see what the progress that we made throughout the spring. And again, we couldn't be more excited for that or the season. I'm ready to get up for the Chicane game, and then we're all going to New Orleans because that'll be a ton of fun. But Coach, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I know you're busy, so we'll let you get back to all the craziness that's going on campus. But again, thank you a ton for hanging out with us today.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and go Noles.
Go Noles.
Thanks, Coach. Go Noles.
Coach Mike Norvell, Florida State football head coach. Richie, that's pretty nuts, right? I didn't know like 2 or 3 years ago when we started this that we'd be interviewing the head coach at Florida State. But he's awesome. Huh? Enjoyed the interview. Enjoyed Derek for helping set that up. Shout out Meat for pulling a couple of strings and helping out there as well. But good stuff from Coach Norvell. I enjoy hearing him talk. I enjoy hearing kind of his vision and what's going on.
I felt kind of bad because obviously we know there's a lot of elite talent right now in Tallahassee that we pulled him away from for the last 30 minutes or so.
He picked the time. I gave him all week. He picked the time. I said anytime, and he said noon at Sunday. And I said, all right.
We purposely kept this quiet because this has been in the works for about 2 weeks now. And again, shout out Harlan, our producer, and Meat for helping set this thing up. But that was awesome. Did not expect to be interviewing the head coach of Florida State's football program, when we started this thing a few years ago.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And, certainly haven't arrived or certainly aren't there yet because just want to keep kind of getting better and honing in our craft. But moments like this kind of make you like step back and say like, all right, well, we're doing something that's okay over here. So good stuff with Coach Norvell though. He's awesome. I loved hearing him talk about Bobby. I loved hearing him talk about, I feel like the football, you ask about football answers, and he does a press conference every single day, right? Like, and talks with all of the media and talks. I don't know. To me, the football stuff is, it is important. It is what we want, but he's not allowed to come on here and talk about recruits. He's not allowed to come on here and talk about really specific things. So like, I love hearing that. I love hearing his, his passion for Coach Bowden. And I love hearing the little stories about Odell and Ron's eyes just lighten up when Coach Bowden walked in the room. And like, to me, those are the bigger picture things. Those are, do I want us to win 12 games this year? Absolutely. Like, I want to go 12-0. I want to win the spring game. He can't. But at the end of the day, I think it's it's the service, it's the giving back, it's the vision, it's the mentality, it's the mindset that he has for this program, and just getting to know him a little bit better. Also, more importantly than all of that, hearing that he's not a coleslaw guy, hearing that he is a double fry all the way guy. That is certainly what moved the needle for me. So, any other thoughts on his interview, and then we can move on.
No, just again, really excited for spring football. We talked about it last week. I'm excited for that backup position. Like I'm excited to see AJ Duffy and Coach. He kind of lit up a little bit when I mentioned him, so I do think that's a good sign. But yeah, just really excited for spring ball, and you're going up for the spring game, TJ. I can't wait to see what this looks like, because it is an exciting run up to the season with Duquesne, and then obviously a lot of us are going to be out in New Orleans come September.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait. Hopefully we can get him back on and do some follow-ups and stuff. But I think there's more excitement around this season. We talked about on the Spaces the other day, Josh and I, and we'll kind of transition back into the rest of the show. Not trying to keep you guys too long. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us while we interviewed Coach. But I think that there's so much excitement around this year because there's so much more certainty. You mentioned it with Coach Norvell bringing back the 11th most returning production. Well, that hasn't been the case, right? Like, you had the COVID year, you had a a COVID year plus a transition class, and then you had even more people leave the next year, and so just to kind of know who, I feel like we have question marks around. Oh, can this guy stay healthy, or will this new unit look? How will it look? Because we've got new guys at one position, or we've got this at another position. But for the most part, we know what the roster is. And we've not been able to say that since 2018. Willie's last year. I don't think we've really known that for quite a while. And so I think that's where the excitement comes from. That's why it's so encouraging right now, because, man, we just feel like he mentioned it, 9 games by 1 score last year. And if you can just tilt the needle a couple of those games your way, it's exciting. And so, I'm getting all tongue tied and excited.
Imagine how much better we all feel. Yeah. Imagine how much better we all feel if we win that game against Clemson in Florida, right?
And they
you beat all your rivals,
and
you were right there. So we're not that far off. Clemson worries me a bit this year, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah, we don't want to bring the mood back down by talking about that. But no, awesome stuff with Coach. Hey, I did a really, really fun interview on Monday. Just quick plug for this. I did a really fun interview with a couple of girls on the softball team, Michaela Edenfield and Josie Muffley. Ton of fun. You can go check our feeds for that. It's everywhere: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever, anywhere you listen to podcasts or watch podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, it's all there. We'll talk a little about spring football, but I want to give a shout out. I want to give one more plug to Garnet and Gold. Did you see, do I have the picture? I don't have the picture of it, and I don't know that I can find it fast enough to throw it up here. Maybe I should have told Harlan about this because he could have had it ready to go. But did you see the picture of Bryant yesterday? They've got like the best kids stuff. I do just want to say that.
Yes, I did see it. I like that polo. Yeah.
He looks like a little coach. Listen, I'm not going to be able to talk about my kid and not upload this. So we're just going to do it while we're talking, get this up here and talk. They've got the best kids stuff. I'm working on getting, there he is. Very good. Thank you, Harlan, for putting that together. I love their kid stuff. Check that out. Kind of no matter what age your kids are, you can pick stuff up. Richie's getting like dog stuff for his kids, so that's exciting. I'm somewhat of an alcoholic and do a bourbon podcast, so I have a little FSU mug. They've got the vintage stuff, but shout out Garnet and Gold, family owned and operated. They've employed thousands of FSU students, and they're not owned by Gators. Fanatics is owned by Gators. So let's pass on the Fanatics stuff. Go to Garnet and Gold. I'm working on getting a discount code for us, but you can just use Spaces20 right now and get 20% off. We also have a giveaway going with them, which is the most exciting part of all of this. Go to our Instagram. All you have to do is like the post and follow them, and then tag a friend. And you can be entered to win a $25 Garnet and Gold gift card. You can use that online. You don't even have to live in Tallahassee. Go enter to win on our Instagram or on Garnet and Gold's Instagram. You can see both of them there. We'll pick a winner. We'll announce it next Sunday on the show. Richie, you love Garnet and Gold. You go every game day, right? Like, especially going back up in town. We talked about this last week.
Yeah, again, my wife's the one that says we have to go every time we're in town, because she's I feel like it's pretty normal for a woman. You know, she wants a new shirt for every single game she goes to. So I'm sure we'll probably hop online and find her a new shirt for the game up in New Orleans where she was born, actually. Yeah. So we're really excited for that.
Oh, yeah. So shout out Garnet and Gold. Appreciate what they do. Obviously, Double Fries No Slaw, brought to you by Guthrie's in Tallahassee. You can hit both their locations like Coach Norvell and get your gut box. Double Fries No Slaw, 1818 West Tennessee Street and 2550 North Monroe. Tell them we sent you. They like here. I get a text from there every time, one of you guys. So I get a lot of texts. But every time you guys go through there, you say, oh, another one came in and told us that you sent them in. And I'm like, we didn't introduce them to Guthrie's, but now they just hear the podcast and tell you that they heard the shout out. So shout out to Guthrie, shout out to Garnet and Gold, helping keep the lights on here at Double Fries No Slaw. If you have a business or a service or product that you'd like us to shout out, slide in the DMs. We're happy to. Knowles support Knowles, so we're happy to support anybody that we can. Anything that kind of needs some extra love or attention, we'd be happy to kind of help out there. Okay, talking about spring, we can talk about this now that Coach is off here, but we had a commitment this weekend. I know, again, we're not so deep into the recruiting game, but because we have Dane doing all this recruiting for us, I'm learning more. We're doing more. 4-star Keith KJ Sampson. A lot of people thought that'd be an FSU Clemson battle. Obviously, nothing's done until pen hits paper in either December or early February. But Keith verbally committed to Florida State yesterday, a 4-star defensive lineman. Certainly not upset about trench recruiting anytime, right, Richie?
No, huge pickup. Like you mentioned, he's from North Carolina, so Clemson really thought they had him. Big pickup, and shout out Odell, right? Yeah, shout out Odell, because you know he gets a lot of hate for whatever reason. You know, I know he's been here forever. I go back to Marvin Austin when he picked North Carolina over Florida State back when I was in high school, and people were on Odell, and then he gets Jernigan, right? He gets Mario Williams, all these guys. Big pickup for Florida State. I'm excited, man. I did not expect it. I know you and Josh are kind of more dialed in with the recruiting now, and you specifically because of the Spaces, but huge pickup, man. That's great for Mike Norvell in Florida State.
Yeah, no, really good pickup there. And it was somewhat of a surprise. That wasn't one that was like super well known or super alluded to. Certainly people knew, but that was a big one for Florida State. Another one that is maybe coming. I don't know if the eyes are quite hitting the timeline just yet, or anything's been alluded to, but Dane just put out an article that 4-star defensive lineman, shout out Odell again, 4-star 2023 prospect Wilkie Denaud had planned to commit after taking some official visits, but he really liked how this weekend went, and that plans may have changed. In fact, Denaud was quoted saying, I like how this went this weekend. I think something might happen soon. When Dane asked that if he thought about committing or not this weekend. So could pick up 2 4-star blue chip prospects on the defensive line. There's been a lot of talk about, Odell, other coaches on the staff, wide receiver, all over. Odell this would be a pretty big couple of pickups if we land both these guys. They both end up signing. So check out doublefriesnoslaw.com. Dane also has some more interviews that he's dropping throughout the day. He's out there at the Moore But could pick up another one. Knock on wood, but could pick up another commitment here today. So that'd be exciting.
Yeah, man, it's keep them coming, because it's shout out Dane and all those recruiting guys who that's a grind, man. Just waiting out there all weekend.
But shout out Sonone here.
No, definitely not Sonone. He's a 2-star, right?
Brendan's a high 4-star in my book. Brendan, you're my boy. Bro. So, but according to the timeline, people aren't big fans of Brendan for whatever reason. Dane's a high. Dane's like a low 4 to me. Dane's just young. The problem is Dane's
he's only got freshman tape out, he's got freshman tape out. You can't really judge him yet.
Like that. Yeah. For 5-star in my heart, though, Dane. Beginning of spring, we talked about it a little bit with Coach Norvell. Do you have any big takeaways? I know it's really early, but do you have any thoughts? I have one thought on spring, and it's not like something sarcastic, like, oh, I can't make any. Like, I have one thought, but I want to see, maybe we'll hit on the same one, or do you not have anything? It's not a problem if you don't. But.
No, I'm just excited. Like I said, I think the biggest thing for me, we talked about it last week a little bit, is the receiver room. Johnny Wilson, Winston Wright, Deuce Spann, Micah Pittman, 4 transfers. And then what does that mean for guys like Ontario Wilson and Malik McLean, who I really like and think he could be a special player for us. So I'm looking forward to that. The revamped linebacker room. Obviously, Deloach took a huge step forward towards the end of last season. You get the UCF transfer, Bethune. I'm excited. Obviously, like we said, it's not going to be a 12-win team, but there's a lot of things to be excited about looking into it. AJ Duffy, again, I want to see how he progresses throughout the spring. But what was your big takeaway?
I hate to take this away, but I was talking with James Coleman yesterday. We were chatting about something that had happened, and he just ended up giving me a call, and we then got on to practice. Obviously, James Coleman played at FSU in the early 2000s. So we were chatting yesterday, and my biggest takeaway is just that I feel like our offensive line finally looks like an offensive line. These guys,
Lyles is a beast. Yes,
they look like offensive linemen as opposed to just tight ends. And that's not disparaging any other years or anything, but we just look like we have, and that's exactly what he said. Caden Lyles looks like, Dylan Gibbons, photo, especially with the beard and everything else like that. But yeah, give me all of the Wisconsin offensive linemen. Give me anyone that's played in cold weather. But yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway and I talked about this. I think I talked about this on the Spaces. I talked about this last week. The position group that I have the least concern about on the offensive side of the ball is the offensive line, which is crazy considering everything since 2014. So that's my biggest takeaway is literally just the pictures of Caden Lyles and the rest of the offensive line as they walk into practice. Like that's the only takeaway I have because it's so early. Like there's nothing else. Like how can you really have a takeaway? But we look like we have an actual offensive line now, and that's pretty exciting.
I saw the picture. I think Sonone tweeted of Lyles walking into the Dunlap practice facility, and my goodness, I'm like, that's what an offensive lineman should look like. But I agree. If they stay healthy, you think you have maybe 7 offensive linemen you feel pretty good about this year, which in previous years, it's not even been your starting 5 you felt good about. So it's definitely something to be excited about. Hopefully they stay healthy and we can see what they can do because, the backfield, we'll see what happens. Again, it's, one day of practice and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. Tough to take away a ton, but yeah, that's my big one for sure. But as we kind of get started, we're talking about the visits. Stay tuned to doublefriesnoslaw.com as Dane will continue to update that. And then let's go around the horn. I think that's it for football coverage for just a minute. Obviously, we took up a lot of time with the Coach Norvell interview. But do we have a basketball minute here today, Richie? Has it been a little bit? What do we got going on here? Yes, no, maybe.
We haven't had one in a while, but fired up. Let's go. Fresh off of Matthew Cleveland's shot heard round Virginia, the Noles were back in action at the TLC hosting the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. It was the freshman phenom who got things started early for the good guys as John Butler hit not 1, not 2, but 3 triples before the first media timeout, getting things rolling for the Noles. While Butler was busy smacking the Irish with a shillelagh stick, the Tribe was giving their best effort in those beautiful N7 turquoise jerseys. taking the league's third-place team down to the wire. The Irish's Blake Wesley, Agent Zero, would be a thorn in the side of the Noles all night long, dropping 21-6, but the resolve of the Tribe would be too much. With a 2-point lead late, it was none other than Jordan Travis's doppelganger, Anthony Polite, pulling up from deep, extending the Turquoise's Tribe's lead to 72-67. A 3-point play on the other end would make it look closer than it was, but in the end, the Irish would come up just a wee bit short as the Noles roll 74-70. Kind of not really league foe Notre Dame. From there, it was on to senior night at the Tuck as Ham and Co played host to the Wolfpack of NC State. It was a welcome return for Caleb General Mills, who would drop 19 points in his return on the Hornets after a 5-game absence. From start to finish, this was all good, guys, with 5 different Noles scoring in double digits in a contest where the outcome was never in doubt. Sorry, Hunter, but Noles win 89-76 and are set to take on the Orange of Syracuse Wednesday at noon in New York.
I'm excited for the ACC tournament. I'm excited we finished the year 3-0. I put out a meme yesterday that just kind of said, like, you know the guy that the girls like, oh, I bet he's thinking about other women, and he's like, oh, I wonder what would have happened if FSU basketball would have stayed healthy. Because I do think it would have been a lot different story. But shout out the team for really staying galvanized, really staying hungry, finding a way to. I mean, they should have. I mean, NC State, they definitely should have won that game. But they were supposed to lose to Notre Dame. That was not supposed to be a game they go on the road and win. They were supposed to lose to Virginia as well. Shout out the team for staying together, even after getting kind of drubbed a few times before that. Boston College was not a good one. North Carolina was not a good one. Being by Duke really bad, but a good job by the team to get galvanized, stay together. Got a couple guys back from injury, which helped, but then you had some guys not playing. So I really want to beat Syracuse and have a shot at Duke on. I don't want to look past Q's. I don't know how much it really matters unless we truly do just run the table. I don't even know if the NIT is happening this year or not. I really don't feel like I've gotten any clarity on that. But I mean, give me a shot against Duke. They're great, and we can talk about Coach K here in a minute. But hats off to the basketball team for the way they finished the year, because they certainly could have just thrown in the towel and said screw it, and they didn't.
Well, easily, all right. And it was, the resolve of the team, right? It was just so impressive. You mentioned the previous few games. Go back to Notre Dame, which was a game they had no business winning, right? Notre Dame, like I just said, they finished third in the ACC this year. That they were pretty good. And Florida State has struggled defending the three, and Notre Dame's really good at that. And Florida State outshot Notre Dame from deep, which, if you wanted to win, that's what you had to do. Yeah. And they did it. And then, obviously NC State, like we said, not a great team. I think they're well under 500 in ACC play, but still a good win on senior day to get that win for these guys. We'll see who comes back and who doesn't next year. I wonder about a guy like Malik Osborne. Is he coming back because he has an option? I think next year could be a pretty good year. We'll see what happens. Like you said, Syracuse, that'll be a fun game. I think the teams are pretty evenly matched. And then you get a chance to knock off Duke. And unfortunately for Florida State, just knocking off Duke will not get them in the dance. They have to win the whole thing. But if you knock off Duke, who knows what happens. But they're probably out for blood after last night with what Carolina and Hubert Davis did to them.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about, that's all I've got on FSU. Let's move. I know this is not a Duke podcast, but I feel like anytime there's something major in sports, you've got to talk about it. I wanted Duke to win last night for several reasons. One was so that we didn't have to play them coming off of a loss. Right. I would have, because I do think that they are going to be an inspired team now. I don't think they're going to drop to us or Syracuse. Whoever wins that game. Obviously, I like Florida State in that game just because we do have some guys coming back. So anyway, thoughts on but I did want Duke to win last night. Also, I like cool moments. You look at you look at Kobe's last game. Obviously, I was there. I'm a Kobe fan, but I wanted Kobe to win. I feel like most people, unless you were a fan of the Utah Jazz or just a complete Kobe hater, like you wanted Kobe to win his last game. It's kind of a cool moment. Like you know, how much different, and obviously in the way that he won, it was pretty remarkable. But how much different would that like Mamba out have been if they'd have lost by 20, right? Or whatever. And I think it'd have been a little neater if Duke would have won last night to hear his take and what he would have said there. But I also think that it gave us a really cool perspective of his take after the loss. And before they had the celebration or the ceremony for Coach K, he said, you know, this was unacceptable. We will be better. Season's not over. I liked all that. I mean, I obviously would have just rather than won because it would have been cooler, but I like that he wasn't just like, okay, well, let's just celebrate me after the team had a pretty bad loss. So thoughts on Coach K, thoughts on the game last night in general, just whatever, you know, and then we'll move on from Duke.
I'm always like a little indifferent on Coach K because he's famous for going into opposing teams' locker rooms to like shake people's hands after they lose games. And I don't know. He just seems like he thinks he's better than a lot of people to me.
To be fair,
congratulations. Yeah, well, that's fair too. Like, I mean, come on, a West Point grad who's coached a team to 6 national titles. That's fair. But like, I don't know. I remember when Mike Snare hit the game winner and Coach K's like, oh, hey, he came in while he's in the ice tub. So I don't know. Like, I'm indifferent on Coach K. I'm actually kind of happy that North Carolina won. I actually grew up somewhat of a UNC basketball fan. Vince Carter was like, that was my dude. Like Jerry Stackhouse, Vince Carter, those are my guys. I was a huge UNC fan, obviously no longer, but you know, Coach K, what he's done for the game, and he is a class act. Like, let's not pretend like he's not. Obviously, he has his quirks that I take issue with, but he is a class act. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, in the season. You were mentioning that, TJ. Could you imagine if Florida State lost to West Virginia in Bobby's last game? Like that would have been devastating in a meaningless game.
I thought they were going to. They were down 2 scores early. I thought for sure that was going to happen.
But it was a meaningless game in the grand scheme of things. But awesome to see Coach Bowden get that win. So we'll see. You know, Coach K, his career's not over. He's got potentially 3 games this week and then 6 more after that. So we'll see. Yeah. I do think it would be cool if he won a national title in his last year. My uncle Dick was a Duke grad. He went to the Air Force, went to Duke afterwards. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Duke, which most Florida State fans do not.
Yeah. I think that I've watched Duke UNC for years. And I think that my rooting interest has flip-flopped more than a politician. You know, but I think that my rooting interest in that game very much just ends up coming down to like which team how will it help Florida State, if so?
Yeah.
And then who will it hurt more? Like if Duke's the higher rated team, then go Carolina. If Carolina's the higher rated team, or if there were just players that I love. Like I did love JJ Redick. Like I loved Redick. I loved Hansbrough for North Carolina. Like those guys were just fun to watch. So like I probably cheered a little bit more or less for them when those guys were in college and playing. I hated Grayson Allen, so always cheered for North Carolina when he was there.
So some of that happened night out of nowhere.
I was hoping that he wouldn't even be there to be shown, but I do like Coach K. I've always liked Coach K. I have some buddies in that coach high school basketball that have been to his camps and just talk about how amazing they are and how cool those are. And I will not pull out, like most of our fan base, blue to wear for, all 6 of their tournament games. But I think it'd be a cool moment if he went out with a ring. Like I don't really have a rooting interest because again, I don't really expect us to be there. Obviously Florida State gets there. I mean, that's who I'm going to ride with, but I think it'd be a cool moment, and Duke winning does nothing to like, it doesn't hurt me. To me, it's not like Florida winning a title or Miami winning a title or something like that. Yeah. So if Duke wins, I think that'd be a cool moment for Coach K. I'm not going to be actively rooting for them. Maybe if they make the championship, like I'll be like, all right, well, you're so close now. Like, let's not drop it. And I don't care about anybody else. Like all the other highly rated teams. Like I don't care about Auburn or Purdue or
Gonzaga.
Any of these other teams. So might as well just be Coach K. It'd be a cool ending moment. I'll probably get lit up and trolled for saying that I might cheer for Duke, but just
It'd be a cool moment
do it,
until
dude.
you realize that John Shire, the new head coach, signed the first, second, and third ranked players in the entire class.
That's the
this
other
year.
thing. They're going to be amazing either way. So, like, you know,
They signed
it's
the
like
top three
it's like
players. That's
Alabama winning.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're gonna that machine is gonna keep going. But I like Shire while he was there too. He played with I liked a lot of those guys. I like Greg Paulus when he was there. He was a ton of fun to watch. Like I
So I
just
actually-
like players.
I played in the AAU tournament that Shire was in. I didn't get to play against his team, but I remember watching him play because we were in nobody's school. And there was Coach K, there was Roy Williams, like a bunch of people there just sitting courtside watching Shire. So pretty cool to see that come full circle.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's go around the horn and then we will get out of here. Baseball, softball both started out 2-0 this weekend. Baseball with a walk-off against Cal on Friday night in a game that Florida State trailed for most of the game. Alex Terrell hit a 2-run, no doubter to tie the game in the 8th and then walked it off. Later on, who hit that? Lacey hit that? No, Tibbs hit that. Florida State wins 4-3. On the Friday night game, ended up winning 7-4 yesterday, if I remember correctly. They start here in about 3 minutes. We taped this at noon, so that game's actually already going on if you're watching it. Softball started out 2-0 in ACC play. They're 19-0 on the year. Florida State down right now to Pitt by 1. A lot of game left, though. I think it's like the 3rd inning. So got a lot of game left to get that run back and then try and get to 20-0 and 3-0 in the ACC. Tennis is competing today. Both teams against Wake Forest. The men picked up a big win against, I think it was NC State the other day. So I could be wrong on that, but I think the men beat NC State. So if I'm wrong on that, please don't crucify me. Let's back it up. I got to know who it was. Yeah, beat number 20 NC State. So an upset win there for the Noles. Women's hoops beat BC, but then lost to the team that will probably win the women's ACC tournament, NC State. By beating BC, might have clinched away into the bracket, into March Madness for the women. Their selection show is later tonight. Swimming is at the NCAA championships. Beach volleyball competed in the TCU challenge this weekend. So a ton going on. You can check out doublefriesnoslaw.com. Mike Ferguson keeps you guys updated with the daily information on what's going on with FSU athletics. If there's anything I missed around the horn, he will have it covered there. Again, doublefriesnoslaw.com for your FSU kind of recap-ish info for all the athletic teams and for recruiting, thanks to Dane. So shout out Dane, shout out Mike. I might have more shout outs here in a minute, Richie. Shout out Garnet and Gold, shout out Guthrie's. But do you have any shout outs before we go?
Yeah, shout out my big sister Crystal. It's her birthday today, so I know she's up there in Charlotte with her newborn, her second child, and my mom's been up there for like 2 or 3 months now. I don't know if she's coming back. We'll see. But shout out Crystal, happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Crystal!
And happy birthday, Shaq! Yeah. So.
Oh, basically the same. My granddad's birthday was yesterday, so I got to call him today and catch up. So shout out all the birthday folks. No, I think that's all I got. Shout out
John Puck. I don't know. I went out to watch him at the Hills.
You looked how do I call it? Like a groupie.
Oh, I was several Bloody Marys deep. Actually met
you were so excited. You're like a kid on Christmas, man.
Actually met his dad watching one of the holes, but the wife was really excited to see Rory McIlroy, so she got to see him. So just a fun day out at Bay Hill.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, shout out Coach Norvell for coming on and hanging out with us for about half an hour today. Really cool for him to break away from. Again, it was his call on the time. I told him he could do any time. He said noon today, so don't yell at me.
We would have done Monday at 5 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, don't yell at me for interrupting the recruiting weekend. That was his call, not mine. But shout out to the sports information folks, Derek, for setting that up, and again Harlan and Beat for a little assist there. But all right, cool. I don't have anything else. I'm going to predict this week. Oh, no, that's not true. We got a pop-up coming up this week. Sorry, Richie. I got to tell you. I'll tell you about it later. But we do have a pop-up coming up this week. I'm going to work Richie to death in the offseason here. Lindsay's going to hate me. Kara already does. We'll be back later this week, probably Thursday. Almost certainly Thursday. hopefully to talk about not only who we will chat with, but an FSU win over Q's and Duke. Duke's game, the Duke game would be earlier that morning. But if you don't see us on Thursday, we'll see you back here next Sunday, same time, same place. Until next time, go Noles.